We are currently live now. Hi, okay. So, hi everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I'm the owner and I'm the host of the show. So, my guest for today is actually Ms Aarti Mulani here. So, Aarti, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Hello, everyone. So good to be here.
All right.
Thank
Aarti,
you,
maybe
Calvin.
you are most welcome. All right. Aarti, maybe you want to share a bit more about yourself to the good people here?
Sure. So my name is Aarti Mulani. I am a health coach. I was an educator for several years, and now I'm educating people about nutrition. And so it's still in line with one another. It's still teaching, but right now I'm focusing on teaching people about nutrition. I struggled with weight ever since I can remember, and I fluctuated heaps of times. And now I have found a way that I can follow and not feel like I'm on a diet.
Okay. All right. First off is I need to say two things. First is Happy Diwali to you, and second
No,
is
thank you.
congratulations on your recent workshop. It's
Thank
eat
you so
simple and
much.
live large. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Fantastic. Okay. So a lot of the people that would have watched my channels are entrepreneurs. There are also a lot of times is people who could have come from the financial line or maybe from real estate. It's because that my background was in sales. So one of the thing that when we first started in our career, I always realized, and in fact it happened to myself, is that it's we had a constant weight gain and we balloon up very easily. It's because late nights we first started in our career. Of course, we always want to do well in it, yeah. So we don't take care of our health, and as a result, our appearance might not be up to the optimal appearance for one thing. But more importantly, is we feel demoralized. It's because not only we might not be losing, we might not be producing the result we wanted, but we feel very bad about ourselves. Yeah. So can you please maybe explain to us more what is the importance of nutrition and why is it more important to take care of your health?
Yeah. So it is, I completely understand. It's so easy to do that, right? It's so easy
Yes.
to just focus on work because you want to do really well. You're at the beginning of your career. This is your world. This is life to you, right? And nothing else
Yes.
matters. However, with the hierarchy of success, I just attended Tony Robbins, and he said it all starts from your physical body. Because if you're not at your optimum, right, you're not able to perform on other areas of your life. So, in fact, you need to take care of your physical body even more whenever you are trying to achieve in any other area of your life. So, when you have high energy, you're able to concentrate, you're able to produce more. And yeah, so it's actually the other way around.
Absolutely. Oh, it's really good to hear that. So yes, those of you who are in sales, please take note. Your appearance does matter. In fact, it's the one that will is going to get you a lot longevity in your career, and is the one that's gonna give you a greater production. Am I right to say that, Arti?
I'd like to just add on something, right?
Sure.
It's not looking good that will help you advance in your career, but I think looking good is a side effect. It is a bonus,
Absolutely.
if you like, right? But I think it's more your energy level. When you are fit and you're at your optimum, you're able to produce more. And so you think that you need to do the exact opposite of that. You need to work yourself every single minute you need to work and you ignore everything else. But in fact, when you spend that hour just focusing on your physical body, everything will
Correct.
improve in your life. Your productivity will increase. You'll be able to perform better. You feel great, right? Whenever you feel great about yourself, you produce better results.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. For those of you who just tuned into the show for the very first time, Global Citizens is actually a show I created from my own experience growing up overseas. It's because when we go for to another country for a holiday, of course, we tend to just see all the positivity within that country itself because we are there for a holiday. However, there are times when we see how beautiful the place is, maybe we decided to work there or we decided to expand our business there. And as a result, when we encounter new countries, there's cultural shock, there's cultural differences, and as a result, when you are not able to adapt well, or maybe you do not know that there are some certain loopholes or certain customs of that country that you should be aware of, then you are not able to produce anything. As a result, it became a waste of your expansion time. So, which is why, okay, every single time I would actually ask an who have experience living overseas. Arti has mentioned she is an educator. So I believe you used to teach, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I can you repeat that? I used to.
Oh, you used to teach in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. That's right. So I used to teach in Singapore.
Ah, okay, okay. Okay. So from your experience, right? Okay, this is something that I felt can be quite a unique trend. Is because body image is especially important, especially when you are young, especially now with the era of social media. Okay. Have you ever encountered a case? Maybe you see a child, maybe as young as a kindergarten, feel really demoralized because their appearance might not be up to par. Because even people used to say this is a teenage issue, but I've actually seen children as young as like 4 years old feeling they're very insecure about their appearance. Arti?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I have seen that a few times actually, and most recently in a girl that a girl that I used to teach just at my last school before I decided to take health coaching, training and be a
Yeah.
certified health coach. I encountered this girl, and she is a beautiful girl, and she is an Indian as well by ethnicity. And I think Indians generally come from families that really show love through food. And I'm sure a lot of cultures do that as well.
Yes,
But,
absolutely.
you know, and so I don't think she is one of those children who can just eat a lot and burn it off because she is very studious. So she should sit in a corner and study and should read during her break times. And so she's not very active. And so she's not burning all that she eats. So to me, she's eating like any other child in her classroom.
Yep.
And I can relate to that because I felt exactly the same way as a child at school. I used to feel
Mm,
like I'm eating just about the same amount, but here I was, chubbier and heavier than any of my other classmates, right? And
mm-hmm.
and like you said, with the social media right now and with TV shows, children as young as 4 and 5 year olds already feel it. They know when they don't look like their peers. They know when they do not look like children on television shows.
Yep.
And so they start to feel it and they carry that weight with them. And my idol in life is Oprah Winfrey. And she always
Oh,
says that, yes, I love her. I just, it's my dream to meet her. And so she says that the biggest gift you can give a child is self esteem. And I think that's more so with a girl. And so this beautiful girl now who is very, very, really beyond, above and beyond her peers when it comes to reading, comprehension, and just engaging in conversations has, is so concerned about the way she looks that I noticed throughout the year that she became less and less, you know, participative in class. So she
okay.
would answer lesser questions. She would
Oh
not
dear.
engage herself in conversations. And I think it was all coming from her weight. And I think, it's really, really important, especially as parents and teachers, right, to not talk, to not have like fat talk in the house. And I tell this to I talk about this with all my cousins because they have young children. And I say that, when a child says, oh, I'm fat or, I'm carrying this extra weight, we just say, oh, we don't talk about that in our house. You look beautiful. And
Absolutely.
to really enforce the child's strengths, because it is those strengths that will enable her or him to be able to achieve and accomplish in life, right? Because then she would take care of her weight at some point and should address that at some point. But at that moment, she needs to focus on her strengths because when she feels horrible, she'll not want to take care of herself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's actually a really good That's actually a really good opinion. Okay, how would you actually advise parents to actually, in order to actually interact more with their children, with regards to how, so that they are not fully affected by the image they see in like what they read or in the social media or in television? Because I noticed, and this is something that I noticed from my time when I was in Singapore, because I used to work for a school that educates on public speaking. A lot of the children are actually autistic. Actually, the reason being is that in the generation of millennial parents, I guess it's not because they don't love their children. It's because they are much more engaged with what they are doing. It's because they are people who worry about career. So as a result, a lot of times that I notice is that the parents is just gonna hand over an iPad or a phone and then just pass it over to the child, and then they're like, okay, do your own thing. I'm gonna do my own thing, which as a result, they are affected by that image. Maybe at that particular area is, of course, it resulted in a sense of lack of awareness of the surrounding. However, when they see things that are in social media, like for example, what we have been discussing on image, yeah, how do you think the parents should be able to interact with the children instead of just doing it?
Instead of just giving them a
Yeah.
tool, you mean?
Yes, that is correct.
Like giving them an iPad or that's what
Yes.
you mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is tricky in today's day and age because we're all trying to climb up the ladder, right?
Absolutely.
And so I don't have a child of my own, but I have a nephew whom I love dearly. I have a niece whom I love dearly. To me, they're like my own kids, and all my cousins have younger kids. And so my interactions with all of them are very, very dear and special to me. I treat them like my own. I do my best to treat them all like my own. And
Sure.
so I myself struggle with that. Sometimes I'm on the phone, especially now with me on this new career path of health coaching. I have received so much positive feedback, but at the same time, my time with my nephew has decreased, right? It's so easy for
Absolutely.
me to just be on my phone answering questions and making appointments while this poor child is just sitting there and just watching me, and to him I'm being really boring, right?
Yes, of
And
course.
so I think it is really, really important to set that time apart, like even for our growth and wellness. Again, it comes back to health, right? Health is
Yes,
not
correct.
only taking care of our physical body, but also of our mind and our spirit. And I think that some time off social media is going to be beneficial for everybody, right? So when we're with
Correct.
our child, then even if it's 30 minutes or 40 minutes with that child, it's beneficial for us not to have social media and have that really quality time, because really multitasking is not even a thing. We're not able to
Yeah.
multitask, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we want to be in the present moment with our child, and so it's better that we spend 30 minutes of undistracted time rather than an hour and a half of distracted time with our child, where we're on our social media trying to be with our child, but we're not actually really being.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so I think lesser time, more quality rather than quantity.
Correct, correct. Okay, so, okay. So you are actually an Indonesian. You are born and raised here, right? However, you
That's
are of Indian ethnicity. Am I right to say that?
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Okay. Growing up, do you ever encounter any kind of differences where with regards to the cultural differences? It's because a lot of people might not know it, but there are Indonesians living in Indonesia. That is actually something that has been going around for more than 20 years, I believe. So, do you ever encounter any kind of difficulty due to cultural differences? Because at home, maybe there's a certain way that your parents would have treated you. As one of the way you mentioned is that an Indian family would show affection through food. Am I right to say that? So,
Yes.
yeah. Do you ever encounter any kind of difficulty due to cultural differences? Maybe growing up or even when you were young yourself?
Right. The strange thing is, Calvin, I went to school, right, where it
Okay.
was majority Indians. So I went to Gandhi school at that
Oh,
time.
I'm actually from Gandhi myself.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
but
went to
I
Gandhi,
was from the nationals.
right. So I went to Gandhi school, the Pasbaru campus,
Okay,
and most of my friends, or almost the entire school, were all Indians. There were very few Indonesians or Chinese, right? And so
sure.
I grew up actually thinking that Indians were people from my community, which is Sindhis, we're Sindhis. And so I just thought the only Indians that existed in the world were Sindhis. And until I went away from home. So my struggle was not when I was at home, because it was all very familiar to me. School was just like how home was, and vice versa, because I was
Okay,
surrounded by all Sindhis, right?
correct.
Not only Indians, but even more so, like Indians from the same community as me.
Sure. Oh, okay. Wow, that's a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
that's a really informative thing. Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, you were educated overseas also. I recall it's New Zealand. Yeah.
Yes, so I went to New Zealand to do my undergrad and postgrad, and I went to Malaysia to do my A levels.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Okay. So, where you mentioned is that there was no cultural issues when you were growing up. It's because what is it in school is quite the same when it's at home, yeah? When you actually
that's it.
left to these countries, though, do you actually see any kind of differences in the way people interacted, or maybe because of ethics difference? And how has it actually affected your point of view? It's because I grew up in Singapore for 15 years, and when I'm come back to Indonesia, it's actually a little bit of struggle to me, honestly. In fact, I'm still struggling with it at the moment. This is, in fact, one of the main decision why I created this channel. Do you experience such a thing last time?
Oh, absolutely. Both ways. Coming back to Jakarta was such a
Yeah.
struggle. Being
Yeah.
away was a struggle. And
Yes.
so that's when I think I had to really find myself. So that is when the challenge started. I think I left home, um, when I was 15. In Malaysia, it was still okay because it was very similar to
Okay.
Indonesia in a lot of ways. And then I went with a few friends from here as well. Um, so it was not that huge a difference. But the difference was not, was more with like the fact that I was at not only a boarding school, but it was just like a campus that had hostel facilities, and I had to like think about food, get food, prepare food, everything on my own, and get my
Yep.
laundry done on my own. So all of
Yep.
those things became an issue because I come from a family that's very protective, or a culture, a community that does everything for you, right? One,
Yep.
being in
Correct.
Indonesia, we have help. Two, being an
Yes.
Indian, parents kind of like spoil you in that regard. They,
Yes.
they smother you with. So I had all those things taken care of me. So that was my issue in Malaysia. I think doing things on my own and getting stuff done was a real issue. And just the fact that I could come home and go out at any time, that was an issue as well, because I was
Yeah.
not used to that amount of freedom.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was actually a lot of fear. In fact, when I came back home to Indonesia, I think in my first 2 months, I was actually in my go-kart then, but the thing is my phone ran out of battery. So by the time I reached my house, there's over 20 calls. All of them are from my parents. They were
Right.
so worried. Maybe they thought, oh my God, you went missing. And I was like, huh? Guys, I'm fine. I think it's because I was so used to living alone that when I receive this kind of thing, it's something that's really weirds me out. So I believe you experienced that too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you are going to go overseas, please learn to do your own stuff first at home, so that you know how to take care of yourself better. Is that a good sort of advice that I can give?
Yes, definitely, definitely. You need to learn to be self-sufficient so that, there are already so many changes. At least that's one thing you don't have to
Absolutely.
struggle with. That's one change that is already taken care of because you're prepared for it, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going back, of course, to your main niche. Yeah? So as a health and wellness coach, right? Okay. So you mentioned about your background when you were younger, right? So that was actually one of the primary motivation to actually to actually impart your knowledge on what it's like to actually be a health and to take care of your health. Am I right to say that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay. So from your experience though, okay, what has been something that allows you to maintain to focus on this is because you did actually perform a career change from an educator to become a health and wellness coach. While you did mention there are some similarities, of course, due to the fact that at the end of the day it's educational. It's two different kind of people that you're teaching. It's because at your current level of career now, you would have focused more on adults, whereas when you were an educator, you were teaching children. What has been helping you to make the conversion easier?
So the reason, first I'll go to the reason why I decided that, this is it, I'm going to make this change and I'm going to get myself certified. Because in
Sure.
terms of experience, I had it in terms of weight fluctuation, it had stopped when I was in Singapore working in a school. And I realized that the kindergartners, they were bringing in a lot of snacks from home and
Oh,
they were not necessarily healthy. They need to bring, they have the option to have school lunch or home lunch, and then they need to bring snacks. So they were not bringing the healthiest snacks, which is all right. You don't, parents are busy, like, you mentioned earlier, right? Parents are busy.
yep.
They do their very best. So I don't want to be judgmental of them. However, I also noticed that children, we tried all different strategies, as a team. We were nine
Correct.
kindergarten teachers, and we tried all different strategies to help these kids perform better at school, but they were not performing better at school. And
Oh,
so their behavior was erratic. It was just crazy. And we were doing our best. We are, very well informed, experienced educators, and we tried all
correct.
these different strategies. And then I said in a meeting, what about their nutrition? Maybe if we looked into that, then it
Correct.
would have an impact. And true enough, I experimented that in my own classroom, and I encouraged parents to just give healthier snacks. And so they were giving
Okay.
them fruit as snacks, primarily fruit as snacks, and less dairy products and less uh, you know, processed snacks and biscuits and stuff like that and chips. And
Correct.
children's behavior improved. And so I felt like at the root of it all is nutrition, right? And that has to
Correct.
be taken care of before anything. So I decided, like, with my own experience as a child and struggling with weight and weight fluctuations throughout my teenage years and young adult years as well, I decided that I would get certified and help people, including children, just family interventions even, to help with food and nutrition so that people are able to perform better in all areas of their lives and be happier and more productive.
Okay, I actually really agree with that, and in fact, I experienced it. When I was around 16, I actually had an eating disorder at that time that going around in my personal life. So
Oh,
as a
wow.
result, in fact, one of the way that I actually can feel good about myself was exercising. However, I was not eating properly, so it's like I try to always run like around 5 kilometer, and I try to do like around 100 push-up or something around that line. But the thing is, I was not eating properly. I was surviving on processed food, and as a result, it's like I don't know, a lot. It actually affected a lot on my mood personally. I remember at the time for when I was 16 or so, I was constantly wearing an extremely baggy fit that I would just drape around my school uniform. Is because I lost around 20 kilo in 2 months. Yeah,
Got
and
it.
in fact, there was one of my teacher who actually keep on asking me, Calvin, are you eating? I was telling her I'm fine, but I was really trying to control myself from losing my temper. So I really agree with that. So you are what you eat, and it's something that will make you feel a lot better in how you approach life.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
Really, food really affects mood, right?
correct, correct. Okay, that is a really good information. And for all those within who are watching my show, and all of them who are actually now in their career, yeah, what would you advise for them to how to take better care of their health? Because I believe your method is based on starch-based nutrients. Am I right to say that?
That's right. And it's not something that's very popular in Asia,
Yeah.
let
Okay.
alone in the States. It's
How
pretty
would
new in the States as well.
okay? How would you advise for those adults who are watching the show? How would you advise them to actually consume to actually eat better so that they can better take care of their health?
All right. My first suggestion is eat more starch, and that is probably the most ridiculous advice, people feel like when they listen to this, because all over Asia, even though we've been eating rice for generations throughout history, the first thing people
Yeah.
do when they go on a diet is they're like, I've stopped carbs, I've stopped rice, I've stopped bread. Well, carbohydrates it's just glucose. It just gets used by all our cells in our body for energy. And we need that, right? For doing all our daily tasks. And we learned this in biology, right? When we were young at school. And
Correct.
that gets tossed out of the
Correct.
door because we hear about the keto diet and the Atkins diet that focuses on, eating proteins. Actually, protein is in everything we eat. I'm a vegetarian. I have gone back and forth with veganism, and I do my very best to eat vegan foods. In fact, I aspire to be a lifelong vegan, and it's the healthiest diet on the planet. I believe that,
Correct.
to in 10 years to come, that will be the diet of the world, because we can't sustain our planet with the climate change. I mean, Jakarta has just been affected by a crazy heat wave, right? And with
Yeah.
all that's
Correct.
happening in the world, we can't sustain our meat diet. And so I know in 10 or 15 years, we will be living in a world where we'll be eating plants primarily.
Sure.
And so my first suggestion is to eat more starches, because when you eat carbohydrates, you feel happier, right? It is the
Correct.
most essential nutrient in your body. You don't need to count macros. You don't need to do any of that. Just eat more starches. When you eat more starches, as your starches go up, your proteins will go down. So it's like a seesaw.
Okay.
You start
Correct.
automatically, your animal consumption will go down. Protein is in everything, in legumes and beans. All of those are starches. In grains, even potato has got protein. So we don't need to worry about protein.
All right. All right. So starch-based diet is a better option from your point of view. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely eat non-starchy vegetables and eat starchy vegetables. Eat your potatoes, if you're living in Jakarta, in Asia, your ubi, eat all of that. Your singkong, your ubi, it's sweet potato, and
Oh,
it's great for you. There's a lot of fiber in potatoes, and sweet potatoes and rice and all your vegetables, all your
mm,
greens. It's great. It's really good for you. Fiber is your friend.
all right. Okay. This is actually my last question. Okay. What three advices would you a young man or a young lady who is out of school, who is just recently out of school now? Because for your case is that you were an educator for several years before you finally found this niche to become a health coach. So what would you want to advise to these young individuals who is just out of school? It's because a lot of them, at most maybe in high school, they are trying to figure out what course do they wanted to go for their university. They will just pick something general, or pretty much here in Indonesia, something that our parents will tell us to. So advice to them now that they are now entering the real world?
Yeah. So I would say just follow your passion, right? It doesn't matter because we live in a
Sure.
world now that we can have one or more passions, right? So just follow your passion, do what you want today. It really doesn't matter because all the skills that you learn, those are transferable. So it doesn't mean that my skills as
Sure.
an educator is now gone, right? Whatever I learned at university, I mean, I did educational psychology as well. So that's
Correct.
5 years of university. That's definitely not down the drain at all because I use it in
Correct.
my everyday language, even, right? The way I communicate with people, it's because
Correct.
of my education, the way I am as a person, my
Yes. Correct.
beliefs, they're all shaped by my education. So don't worry about it. Just do what you're passionate about. That's number one. If it
Sure.
changes over time
Correct.
or you have an inclination to do something else, it's fine. Your skills are not of waste. Just follow your passion. That's one. Number two, I think be grateful because gratefulness increases. When you're grateful about things in your life, it increases abundance. It's so easy to compare even now for myself, I
Correct.
need to keep reminding myself because there are so many health coaches that are very successful today. It is something that's needed in the world, right? When I compare, when you compare,
Correct.
you despair, right? You don't progress because you are coming from a place of lack. So always be grateful. There are always things to be grateful for. Live in abundance. That's number two.
Right. Number three.
And number three is to love everything and everyone as passionately as possible. It doesn't have to be a significant other, but just love everything in life, love nature, love your passion, really go all out, live life fully. Don't hold back. When you're dancing, dance away. Don't be afraid because there's no right, there's no wrong in this world, right? So don't be afraid of being judged.
Correct.
Just live completely, live fully, love fully.
Correct. Okay. So that is actually my last question. Arti, do you want to have anything you want to say to the viewers? Is because the last time I actually wanted to tell about everyone of your show for, sorry, your workshop for last Monday. However, at that time, due to Diwali, and I believe you were quite busy with that. So as a result, we need to postpone your show to another day, which is today. So do you have anything you might want to tell them? Maybe an upcoming event for yourself?
Watch the space, watch my space, because I will be having a lot more events. It was a
MySpace?
great turnout. No, I said watch
Okay,
my,
sure.
follow my website, follow my Instagram. Everything is just Aarti Mulani. Perhaps you
Oh,
can
sure.
attach the link down below after the show,
Sure.
but it's just Aarti Mulani. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, and I have a website as well. And you will see upcoming
Actually
events and
attach
support this journey. Sorry.
I've already attached your LinkedIn and your YouTube and also your emails. I will attach your Instagram later on, okay?
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. And my website, I think my website and my YouTube and my Instagram are things that am most active on right now.
Sure. All right, right. I will attach them later on, not to worry, yeah? All
Awesome.
right. The end of Global Citizens, episode 7. So, uh, I just do a bit of shout out now. So, first up is StreamYard, is because they are the software that I'm using actually to host the show. There's a referral link that is located within the description box. If you are ever interested to try to create your own podcast or maybe to create your own Facebook live show, please try and click the link below. Click the link above. And also, it's actually a little shout out to a schoolmate of mine. Her name is Jia Hui. The reason being why I asked that is why one of the first few questions I asked you is with regards to career in sales, is because she was struggling in her first few weeks as a salesperson when she first started her career because she was focusing on her work. She was not taking care of her health. So a little shout out for that. All right. This is the end of this episode 7 of Global Citizens. And with that, I thank Arti for giving her time for the show today. and enjoy for the rest of your day. Okay? Bye bye.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye bye.
You're most welcome. Have a good day.
Will do. Bye bye.